In the early 1970s, the Lakers and the Knicks seemed destined to be the next great rivalry in the game. From 1970 to 73, these historic franchises met 3 times in the finals, with New York besting LA in 2 of those matchups. It was future Hall of Famers versus future Hall of Famers, 13 in total between them. What was impossible to predict in 1973 was that the Knicks would go on to win 0 titles since then, while the Lakers would win 11.
Back to back!
That long wait is ever present in the minds of Knicks fans. But what's also a constant is the world's most famous arena. For decades, the game's greatest players have loved the pressure and the platform that Madison Square Garden still brings.
Michael Jordan has 55.
Playing MSG, it's amazing. You know, the crowd's into it. It's one of the best arenas in the world.
It's always electric when a big-time franchise like the Lakers comes to the Garden. I expect it to be epic and I expect it to be loud.
Let's go, Knicks! MSG is the mecca of basketball. So many great moments and so many great stories, so I just try to add to the storybook.
It's the Lakers and the Knicks tonight on NBC.
Hello and welcome to another Sports Spin, where we take a sports story and we spin it. I'm Sun-EB7. Thank you for joining. Now this one's about the one and only Bob Costas. The reason I wanted to do this for Bob Costas is because this brings back memories. See, because when I was young, these were the guys we had to listen to every day. We didn't have Stephen A. Smith. Woo! Thank you. We didn't have Stephen A. Smith. And we didn't have a lot of these guys. Now, another guy that's in between that is Stuart Scott. That is my number 1 all-time favorite because he was just very funny and very professional at what he does. Rich Eisen, I forget the name of the guy with the ball head. These are true, sports personalities. I'm just saying that's what it is. A lot of us do a lot of yelling and screaming and arguing, but when you want to get down to professional, media personalities are supposed to be, see, a lot of people don't know this, but they're supposed to be neutral. I remember when I was growing up, you were hard pressed to find out if one of those guys had a favorite on the field, on the court, on the diamond. They had to be neutral. And you could listen hard enough, you could hear the difference. But for the most part, they were never going to admit to you that this is my favorite team. And, for the most part. And I'm saying that to say that was part of the professionalism in it. Now, you got people, they pick their teams and they yell for their team while they're talking about sports. Which is different, and I'm not criticizing it because that's just the way evolution works. Things change, and then some of the ways that it changed to, you like, and some of them you don't. It is what it is. So Bob Costas is one of my favorite. Him, Greg, and dang, I just forgot his name. The other Gumble, and Marv Albert and those guys. When it just seemed like it was more fun to me. I don't know. It may not be. I'm going to tell you what happened. When I first started seeing the opinionated, my team kind of personality, I didn't like it. No, that's for me. You just tell what it is. I'll dictate, you know what I'm saying? I just felt that way because that's the way it was when we were growing up. They did not let you know who their personal favorites were. Now, I said that because Bob Costas is from St. Louis. Yeah, and I grew up back and forth between 2 cities in the Midwest, and St. Louis was one of them. So I thought, because I was young, I was really young. I thought that's really cool to have a guy that grew up here. He's famous. He's a sports personality, and he's worldwide, and he's on everything. At the time, Bob Costas was on everything. I don't know nothing he wasn't on. There was a period of time when he was on everything. And then he ran into, I think I don't quote me on this, but I know for a fact there were some contract disputes. How those ended up and how he walked away, it's a little foggy. But I hated to see him step away from the NBA because he was one of those voices, him and Marv Albert. And yeah, I already know Marv Albert. This is another case where the off the court or off the field takes over. So I can't speak to Marv Albert in his private life, and I wouldn't anyway. But unfortunately, it bled over into his professional life, and it cost him because he was one of the greats too. And so I see this introduction to the NBA, and it just brought back memories of how the NBA used to be. You think about when you watch the Lakers with Magic Johnson and all those people on there. The Sixers, the Bulls, the Pistons, the Boston Celtics. See, the Birds. That's pretty much who it was, Birds team. The Boston Celtics. That voice was synonymous with that game. So that's why the NBA was much more interesting because it was much more competitive. But the professionalism that was coming through the microphones helped a lot. Why you think they got him back? Yeah, back in the day, I don't think they wanted to pay him what he wanted. Well, he's back now, and I don't know if he called them or if they called him, but he's back. I'd like to believe the NBA called him because the NBA is suffering. There's some new things that's come into play that has not helped the game, and they're losing a lot of their viewers and viewership, and they need to do some things to get it back. One, get people like Bob Costas back, and two, they should change the rules on the dunk contest and make it more professional. Or more of the top players, I should say, the big names. They should make them participate. You're getting paid. You got to help us make money. I'm just saying. And so back to what I was saying about Bob Costas, used to listen to him so much until I would drive out of town, and I learned the way to stay awake is to listen to talk radio. I never listened to the FM dial driving out of town. And I can drive from California to New York straight. I don't listen to music per se. I think that helps you to get too relaxed. You listen to talk radio and you listen to the games on AM dial. You're gonna have to change it every couple hundred miles, but it kept you alert. And I used to tell my friends, if you want to drive out of town, if you want to really get there and not be tired, turn on talk radio. You can't go to sleep mad. Talk radio will piss you off. So it works. I'm telling you it works. But in that, I would listen to some games. And of course, when I'm rolling through the dial trying to find a game and I hear Bob Costas, I'd stop and listen to that game. For some reason, the game was interesting and it might not even be teams I want to hear. So he's very good at what he does. His vernacular, everything is professional. And and as a kid, I was hyped that he was in St. Louis. For some reason, I've never been starstruck. It's not that he don't know me from a can of paint. What I'm saying is, it's like I said, it's synonymous. When you hear that music, that NBA music, and then he starts talking, you're thinking Jordan about to run out on the court, or Bird, or Doc. It's just that. It's just stuck there. But it is what it is. No, I enjoy it, and I'm glad he's back on the airways. So, like I said, I just did this little short video for the old schoolers. I don't like to use terms like that, but when I'm just talking about the general population, I would never call an older person old head, old school, or none of that crap. I call them by their name, or I don't call them at all. That said, I just got it for them. This video is for them because I bet you I'm not the only one that heard that and said, oh, Marv is back. I guarantee you there's a lot of people got that feeling of the 1980s and 1990s basketball when they heard Marv Albert. So no shot to the new sports personalities. There are still some good ones. It's just that these guys were really good. They were really good at what they did. Their conversation it kept you engaged. I remember watching NBA games that it was just interesting because you was listening to them. And usually you don't listen to the sports personalities, but with them, that's just it. When you have sports personalities that are so good that you're actually listening to them while watching a game, you got the right ones. That's all I can say about that. Because most of them you won't. You will not see anybody who watched something Howard Cosell was being the personality on, he was the voice, and they didn't listen to him. More people tuned in for the halftime show with Howard Cosell than the actual game. He was just that electric with his personality. It just does that for you. And it was him, and it was Costas and Marv Albert. All those guys just made it interesting to watch the game. It wasn't so. It's kind of bland now. I mean, it's there, but it's not. I don't know what to tell you. But I'm glad to see him back. That's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. Hope you like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, just remember this sports story has been spun. Take care.